So Psalm 71 is a psalm about someone who's trusting the Lord for their whole life. And it kind of goes through the years, talking about from youth until old age, and still praising and trusting God. Listen to the psalmist as he writes about this. He says, "You have been with me from birth. From my mother's womb, you have cared for me. No wonder I'm always praising you." And then in verse 9, he says, "And now in my old age, don't set me aside. Don't abandon me when my strength is failing." And again in verse 18, it says, "Now that I'm old and gray, do not abandon me, O God. Let me proclaim your power to this new generation, your mighty miracles to all who came after me." So there's a lot of praise, a lot of trusting God, a lot of crying out to him that goes into the psalm. And there's so many verses I could highlight, but there's one that I think sums up the psalmist's attitude all in, and that's 71 and verse 15, which is our verse of highlight for today. And it says, "My mouth will tell about your righteousness and your salvation all day long, though I cannot sum them up." Or another translation reads, "Though I'm not skilled with words." So it's just innumerable how many times God has pulled David through, and this psalm is just another example of that. And so he's just taking the time to say, "God, no matter whether I'm young or I'm old, I'm going to praise you, and I want to tell the next generation about this." So what about you? What about me? When we think about God's work, do we think about passing that on to others? Do we open our mouths and really let others know about what great things God has done in our lives, and how this really is the way to pass it on to the next generation, even our kids, even our neighbors? So think about that today. That's our verse for today.